Good viewer, you are watching Exertas. This is because Exertas makes you feel good, makes you feel fulfilled. You are enjoying this. You will continue to watch Exertas for a long time to come. You want to subscribe to Exertas, and you will. You will like and subscribe and share. You will tell your friends. Tell your friends about Exertas. Your friends will come to like Exertas, much as you are liking this right now, as we speak. Thank you for subscribing to Exertas. See, that was easy.
This next story has been suppressed by mainstream media. Let's go to Andreas for more.
Everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Hello. Welcome to the Exertos. Tune in for another exciting episode of wonder, imagination, and discovery.
Recent Tartarians. Recent
Необходимо
Tartarians.
образует всеобщие закономерности, определяющие законы классической физики для нашего
Sometimes I
мира.
look at the moon and just think, the skin's beautiful.
Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown.
Recent Tartarians.
Что касается энергии наномер, то она превышает ядерную в немыслимое число раз – 10 в 74 степени.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
That's it. That's it. That's it. With your arms now. That's it. That's it.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Thank you for watching Exertos. Keep listening. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please follow and subscribe and share and support. It really helps. Coming up next, Exertos.
By the way, that's gone. If you didn't record that, that's gone forever. It's gone.
Hey, cool.
Hello.
All right. So wait, just for a quick recap. We'll get into it first. Welcome to the show. Do you want me to just call you Stig, or should I say, yeah? Okay,
Stig
this
is
is
great.
Should I remove part of your name from like the title? Because I called you by your name in the title.
No, I got the mute back off.
Yeah, you're good.
I think that if you put an at before it, then you're gonna have my channel at Stig.
Okay, so it's legit. Okay, cool.
Before
so
it
at
was
Stig.
David Stig Hansen, my full name, but then they gave you this whole at choice, and I grabbed Stig, and now it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, dude, 4 letters. Yeah, like that's the ultimate when you got that. So yeah, this is David Stig Hansen, or Stig, and he's also an expert in a lot of things, but focusing in on a lot of those things, he's a literal expert in the Mauritania circle and like the African feedback loops.
I went there.
He's
possibly been to the real Atlantis.
So when we say expert on this channel, we don't just mean people that read about things. We mean people that experience them. Expert
boots on the ground
in the place, and he's going back again, and like you've been there multiple times, and so yeah.
Twice.
Well, I should let you.
Actually, well, you could say it. I don't know it. Now I'm all flustered. Ask a question and I'll answer it, because last time I
tell us your life story. Where's your pamphlet?
So my mom, when she met my dad.
So, but all right, you've been
okay. Let me tell you where I was born. I was born at the Presidio of San Francisco at Letterman Hospital.
Oh, okay, cool.
Now that building is Lucas Films Limited, and apparently there's a statue of Yoda where I was born. So I want to go there.
At 800 years, this good you look. That's pretty sweet. All right. Well, so but you did talk to me earlier. You lived in Taiwan for a while, which is pretty fascinating, and you learned Mandarin, so you know you're rather worldly. What brought you to Africa? What brought you to looking into the Atlantis and everything?
Okay, let me get these clothes off. No, I will just say that I've been looking at the Eye of Africa since I got a good connection, and I spent a couple of years in West Covina, California, taking care of my grandmother who was getting up there and needed help, and so I had like the top floor to myself and a big desk and computer, and And so I'm like, okay, I guess I better check Google Earth.
Studying. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I invented Google Earth, but they got it before I did. So I mean, I loved maps. Do you remember the Thomas guides? I thought, oh, if only I had a Thomas guide for all of the United States. Now those Thomas guides are gone. I mean, you don't really need them anymore because you've got Google Earth.
Is that like a road map thing? Is that
yeah,
like
it's like if you look at
the
Thomas
first
guides,
GPS ones, right? It was like the first mobile GPS.
No, bro. It's a book. Yeah, I think I have one
there
of
you
those.
go.
Yeah.
You'd always have
Dude,
to get the updated
Thomas
one.
guides.
Oh, you got the 1996 one.
Dude, I had these. I actually had these in my car because we went to AAA, and I think somehow that's associated with this or something.
No, the AAA had free maps.
Just an American thing.
Yeah,
Dude, Thomas Guide.
I wasn't even
Rand
sure
McNally.
if they were across the United States or not, but I'm pretty sure they had the whole USA. Oh, the Rand McNally's too. I had a few of those, the large one. Anyways, yeah, what a blast to the past.
Dude, that's based.
So anyways, yeah, the maps brought me to Google Earth, and I said, now I can finally start looking at this planet. This is 2008, and the first thing I said is, well, what about the Sahara Desert? And I was back home from Taiwan for a short time, so I was home all day, and I was looking at Google Earth all day, and first thing I saw was the Eye of Africa, and I'm like, what the F? And then I typed in Google, because it looked like an eye. So I wrote Eye of Africa, and it comes up, and I learned all about it. But honestly, I do have to, and I got to stop saying this someday, but Jimmy did change my life when he brought up the Herodotus connection and the castle that haunted me. And that was back in 2018, right? He brought out a video, and I think he needs to change that picture. He looks so more. I'm not gay, but I know Hansen.
I like it. It's like a Mormon missionary. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Well, it kind of looks a little evil, actually. That picture right there.
It's all the better.
Like, I will kill you.
You could.
It could be a secret space pirate there, with like a shank out of focus.
I mean, yeah, it's the thing. Like his picture says one thing, and his account says another. His feed says another. Recently, I don't know, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, the Twitter is different, right? But you got to keep your YouTube. I got my YouTube. I finally saw the tag words. I only got two. One is Rashad structure, and two is Atlantis. So,
well, as you know, you can't go around talking about the A word or you can't use the hard. Yeah, keep going. Sorry, I can only make puns right now, and I'm trying to be good.
That's the Herodotus map, and you can see over on the left, the bottom left, that's Spain, and there's the word. What does that say? Atlanteans. Okay, first of all, let's be honest about what Herodotus said. He said Atlantis. That is a little bit mocked up right there. And
okay, and let's remember, because this is the thing that I think is really funny, actually. This is like a big point of order. People do this thing with like, oh, this is crazy, because this is what Africa looks like, and how silly is this? But let's remember, isn't there like a proportion map, right? Africa versus Asia size? Is this the thing where they do this?
Right, like on modern maps, they make Africa and Greenland the same size, yet it's like 10x.
Well, that's right. I forgot.
Okay, so here's Russia.
The effect of the Mercator maps, is that what that is? The Mercator style map?
Yeah. So we get this weird perspective of Africa, which makes it look much smaller than it actually is. I mean, look at that, right? So it's
right.
So I think, so this is maybe more logical when you're looking at it from that perspective of that location, that place, than we actually are giving it credit also. And yeah, this also says something about water, because it's saying there's a sea underneath here. And it's not saying there aren't places below it, but this is like the point in question. So if this is Europe into Libya, into Africa, then that's kind of interesting, because you're talking about Spain to this part of Africa, and then there's a sea below that. I mean, yeah, that's different.
Inside Africa, that one?
Because like this is Africa kind of in between.
Also, I question that. So I can tell you that one, who's that from?
So this is supposed to be showing, it's like a wiki map that's supposed to be showing like Mega Chad, Mega Congo.
That's for sure, Mega Chad. That one in the Congo, I've never seen that. But down below, that's where the Kalahari canals are. Are you familiar?
Let's take a look at that.
Kalahari canals.
Kalahari with a K, the Kalahari canals.
Sorry.
First of all, not the desert, but something. It's not very popular. You're not going to get a lot of feed. You're doing there. Try that one. Well, let me show you right on Google Earth. I'm watching what you're getting, and I'm not seeing.
Get yourself out your Google Earth and put on the
I'm ready to
screen
go.
present.
Ready?
You got it?
Are you
Yeah,
ready
put the
for
screen
me?
present on. Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it. No, there's so much. There we go. Let me give my stuff a shout out real quick.
Here we go.
Again, we said my channel is was this Atlantis? I'm using this Facebook to clearinghouse all these pictures. Like I just added that.
Somehow the screen looks really small.
Oh, you know what?
Is there a way to make this wider? Based. All right, thank you.
Yeah. So this is basically Facebook. It's a Facebook page. But the reason why I want you to know about it, I'm very transparent. I could die tomorrow. I'm 56. My brother died at 46. This Atlantis? I put everything here.
Make it to 76 at least.
I got to stop a couple bad habits. Anyways, the link is there. So when you see me do something, go to here and you might be able to get the link yourself. Okay, next thing I want to show you is my Twitter, because I put stuff there like that I'm finding. And so you can probably go through all my recent stuff, stick them up. But please, please, please do. And everybody, I'm serious. West Covina, huh? Joshua Gutierrez. Sorry. Please subscribe to my channel. I need to break free of this shadow banning. So David Stig Hansen, it's easy to find. At Stig now gets you there. There's a guy named John. He actually started doing the canals. I want to show you this later, but let's get to Let's get to the Kalahari Canal answer. Let me get rid of these photos. And when you're looking at Africa, you can easily find the Kalahari Canals. At the top of Botswana, you have this Namibian panhandle, and it's all around here. 250 million square miles. Did I say that right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Okay, let's get in here. So as you see the panhandle, there's 4 countries right here. Game parks. You start to see these parallel lines. And it's like, what the F?
Oh, wow.
These parallel lines are everywhere over here. And they go over and get cut off by this river. I won't talk about them too much. I'm going to
but that's pretty key. That's like the most key thing, because we can get into why that matters the most. But basically, the answer is the title of this video, right?
You said 250 million square miles, and you weren't kidding.
Is it 250,000 square miles or 250 million square miles? 250,000 square miles. So 250,000.
Yeah, 1,000. Sorry.
Yeah, 250,000. Yeah, I'm going from memory. And so you've got these lines. What made those, and what do you think? Now I want to show you something that I recently started getting fixated on. Over here, it's also Namibia.
They're called canals for a reason, right? That's the thing.
Would you call these canals? Here's the thing about these. They look like sand dunes, right? The mainstream implication when you see that is, oh, those are sand dunes.
Too straight.
Okay, but wait a minute. How straight can a sand dune be? Yeah, they do cross over. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to get back out and turn it north. Sorry. I don't want to overwhelm you by zooming back in and back it out. I know that can be a problem. So just let me know, stop, back up, back out, turn off your screen share and stop touching your mouse. I won't be offended. How straight can a sand dune friggin' be? And when I first saw those, I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Those are sand dunes. Nature made that.
Essentially be city blocks even that are buried under sand.
Everybody's doing all the Mars surface posts recently, trying to talk about like what they used to say is that it was probably an ecological disaster from canals, right? And you look at this and you see, well, the only question that has an answer is one that you can test. Here's a place where you've got probably a lot of different people working to environmentally use the water they had access to. And we know what happens in the future. We've seen things like the Aral Sea, Mulholland, Bakersfield. We've seen water diverted, and when it dries up in places. I feel like it's just pretty clear, man. Like you can see, it's like everything radiates out from it, you know?
That was, by the way, I didn't say it. That was 200 miles long. Do you get sand dunes that are that straight that are 200 miles long naturally?
Well, how much salt deposits were around there too? Because when you were zooming out at the end, it looked like there was a whole bunch of white circles.
Okay, so I got a thing about
that.
Might
be snow these days.
I'd like to
Bernie.
clarify my point of view on salt. Playa lakes, a floodplain gets the last of the water. Salt comes from evaporated water. Okay, I wanted to just say this is up in Mali. Let me go show you the salt in the Rashat structure. And I'm glad I can show my face at the same time. I got to be careful not to
This-
pick my nose. So
It's a
you're
pretty great
talking
app.
about stuff like that white. You're talking about these white spots, right? Is that what you talk? And can I call you crypto?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm mad at
and-
crypto.com right now.
Did you call him Bernie then?
Yeah,
Bernie?
I'm Bernie.
Bernie. Okay,
Bernie,
not
the
Burn
crypto
Eye.
alchemist, or Burn Eye. Yeah.
By the way, the number of times I have to run to the bathroom and wash my eyes out from the burning that I just get from sitting and looking at the computer is horrible.
We should get you a red screen thing. There's a thing an app that turns it all red, gets rid of the blue light. That's key. Yeah,
Well, I
but-
don't have blue because I was aware of that, except down by my. So, anyways, what were you saying, Bernie?
It was actually at the previous, because I know that these there's the salts, all the salt deposits in the Ricard structure there, but down where you were first showing all of those canals there, do you know if there are a lot of salt deposits there? Because it was kind of looking like a bunch of dried out salt beds, like little circular ones around it there. And if so, then as you're saying, 100%, this is from a floodplain, like you're talking about, just like Australia, just like Utah, that there was this mass cataclysm that tidal waved the oceans over the
or
land
worse,
and then
bro.
poisoned it.
Or freaking worse. See, the thing I'm thinking more when I see this is man-made disaster. Someone posted the other day a thing that said, "What are you most afraid of? Is it like AI or like viruses?" Or I forget the third one, but the fourth one was other. And I'm like, where's humanity? Like, where's human error? Where's that? He's like, that's other. I'm like, I think that should be like, that's the main category.
It definitely have its own category.
Yeah, it's like
sure,
humanity creating, saying we're gonna move water here so that we can get the salt out of it here, or we're gonna have fresh water moved here so that we can make sure people who need it in this area will have extra water. Like that could lead very quickly within a few decades to complete disaster, completely turn Africa into places that were filled with lakes into deserts. Right.
Well, and it's supposed to have been green twice since that last cataclysm, the desert thing. I'm going to show you a picture.
all the maps of
Just
like
a-
500 years ago.
Just a
showing all of
reminder. Here's just a reminder in a show again, because I always keep talking about the Aral Sea, but here's the Aral Sea in 1989, and here's it's huge.
Soviet killed the Aral Sea.
It's humans, man. It's humans because it's in more than humans. It's ecological feedback loops because the water that was diverted in the north here, because it couldn't rain from the south once it came up in the heated south and rained back in the north, it couldn't rain back in, and so this is from 89 to 2014. So just think about that in terms of Africa and how quickly things could have changed.
Yeah, exactly. And things are okay. So what I think it's cyclical. I mean, it takes 250 million. Wait. Okay, one precession of the equinox is like
26,000 is the full precession.
Let's just do Yugas. It's all right.
25,920. It's 360 times 72. There's 360 degrees in the ecliptic and 72 degrees every 72 years. It's 1 degree apparently. So 25,920. And I actually counted back because I was curious about the Sphinx and where it was looking when the Leo was in the sky. But Stellarium, so many things I want to say, and I'm just going to let me finish with this Kalahari Canal. So
I just want to say Brandon Whitney's not only correct about how the Hoover Dam destroyed the Gulf Delta, but he's also very handsome. Thank you, Brandon. Okay, keep going.
Okay. So these Kalahari canals, this is the only thing I've really found. This guy, he is John Jensen researcher, 2016, but he did get these numbers about a mile wide, and that's 5,280 feet. And then which one is the valley part? I believe that I don't know which one I'm looking at. I think this is the top of the mountain and this is the river. But
I believe you're right as well, because the indentations have a little bit more green where the water would collect and a little bit of life would grow, I guess, sheltered.
Yeah, a lot of square miles of this stuff. Anyways, I'll take this down and we can get back to the Rashat. I mean, I think everybody cares about the Rashat, but ask yourself this: if Atlantis went down 23,000 years ago, when did it start? When did
Or
the Titans
12,000, they say, right?
Also, are you so convinced it was 20,000 years ago? You
What
really
did I
had to
just
be
say?
so...
I'm sorry.
You said 23
I didn't mean
or
to say
something,
that. I
but
meant
you
to
said,
say-
yeah, it was one half.
But do you mean it? Do you mean? Do you mean it was so long ago? Like, because the thing is, a lot of the stuff we're seeing kind of shows that this could have happened 1,000 years ago.
The point
2,000
being,
years
though,
ago,
the
10,000 years
Younger
ago.
Dryas event is exactly that time frame, and it's also the time frame that Plato stated of his time of 9,000 years before him. Which
I'm
was
with you on
3,000
that.
Years ago.
Now, the whole 1,000 years ago thing was the Santorini. I mean, I don't know. I can't say I'm going to know anything. I've read the Plato stuff over and over again, and I can talk about that in the term island and the size of Asia and Libya combined. And then you say, oh, but there's these outlier islands in the open sea. Okay, well, that's Azores. But by the way, the Azores name matches one of the twins. So there were 10 kingdoms. Do I know 100%, put a gun up to my head and pull the trigger if I'm wrong? If it was Atlantis, of course, I'm never going to say it 100%. But when I found my 50-foot canal, my 50 long mile canal pointing right at it, I was back on Team Atlantis, Team Rashat. Definitely an ancient civilization was going on there, and it was big. And guys, sorry, now you're going to start thinking I'm crazy. I believe in giants. And I wonder what were they doing 1,000,000 years ago?
No, see that we're not crazy at all, because something I put forth is 12,000 years ago, before the Younger Dryas, there's the megafauna. There was giant beavers, giant sloths, giant.
Bernie, you ruined a perfect opportunity to gaslight this gentleman. Are you kidding me? We could have made him so uncomfortable for no reason.
Oh, don't worry. Say whatever you want. You can't troll me, bro. I've already.
I'm agreeing though. Why weren't there also giant humans if there was giant everything?
And and you can see what's in the vapor canopy based on what kind of large mammals live in the water, right? There's 100-foot mammals right now that live in the sea, right? So
I didn't want to start with this, but they were.
But let's get there. Yeah.
I can show you something that I think is my discovery. It's in New Mexico. It's in Colorado. There's these. I can't say it very loud because this is I live in an area where if I start screaming this word, they're going to think I'm Archie Bunker up in here. Remember Archie Bunker?
Did you talk about giants? I hope not. I don't know.
Let's go back. No, the term is dike.
Oh, right. With the
volcanic geological
water dams.
wall.
Yeah.
Really, not the man-made ones, but the ones that are naturally formed.
Right, yeah.
And I've just been trying to sort this stuff out because of what it started. Okay, so let me just get this. How much time do we have?
2 hours. What is it now? We're
Okay.
like 20,
All right.
hour 40, whatever.
That's about good enough for the first 5%.
Oh, is it a mythology thing also?
No, I'm a Google
I did not know this. Did you guys know that Dyke is a mythological term that has to do with the transcendent universal ideal goddess of justice, spirit of moral order? Did you know that? Are you freaking kidding me?
I did not know that.
That's one cool dike. That's
Dude,
a goddess dyke, right?
I love dikes, but now
I thought it was
worship
going to
them.
be spelled D-Y-K-E, not D-I.
Which would be like more like the boy who stuck his finger in the dike to save Holland. Right, I hear you. That's a good important one.
Really?
Right. The Holland. Yeah. Have you heard that story?
Is that the way they spelled that? Oh
Is
my
that
God.
wrong? I think so. Yeah, because this kid,
By
there's a
the way, I
history of
think
the
you
little
guys are
boy and
probably
he
more-
used to crack. Yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
You guys are smarter than me anyways when it comes to literature and stuff. I'm a Google earther.
It's an old legend
I
from
look
Holland.
at something. Oh, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
So you're going to show us
Stuck his finger right in there.
in
What?
New Mexico? Is it a dike
Okay,
in New
can I
Mexico?
share again and I'll just take
Yes,
you there.
please.
Many
I'll
times as
take
you
you.
like
You know
it,
that
sir.
song?
I was thinking though, like someday someone's gonna look at Mount Rushmore and they're gonna say, "Wow, I can't believe this is natural." You know, so that's kind of where we're gonna be.
Well,
pretty soon.
I say that about Devil's Tower. Wait, am I sharing? Okay.
Yeah,
I tried to
here it
share.
comes.
Okay, let's get rid of that. Let me go over to
Courtesy of NASA.
yes.
Bernie, did you see the other day that I posted like a rendering of like electroscopy of atom or no of DNA, and someone said like, "Is this real?" And I was like, "Oh man, you're gonna make me say it, aren't you? It's fake, but it has to be." Oh no.
So-
right.
Okay, like I said, I wasn't listening. I didn't catch that.
It's okay.
Do you think that these lines are parallel right here? Pie Town, New Mexico on the 60. I drove there and there's this line and there's this line. Now it's kind of hard to see, but to me that looks parallel. So each of them are about 12 miles long.
Like it's flowing in the same direction, yeah.
I'm just going to put I don't know if you can even see because of these lines are so skinny, but That's one of them. And by the way, it goes right into this Madre Mountain. Okay, so I just want to point that out now because I think that's really important. Now, that's one of them. That's almost 13 miles long, but I wasn't so precise on my end right there. This other one way over here, it starts. Well, I don't want to say starts. I think it starts in the mountain. Let me just get that out here to do one more measurement for you. I think it starts in this mountain and comes down to, to Pie Town, New Mexico. And I had a pie there. Another attribute about these parallel lines is this switchback right there that kind of goes like, okay, I'm just going to say it because I'm not going to dance around the, I believe these giant machines were laying out this stuff. I think you have a switchback here, and part of here is about water control because they're going across this natural river, or maybe even creating the river. Because when you get really into it, I know that you guys think I'm crazy already, but I'm just saying.
No, New Mexico of all places, yeah.
Maybe ancient humans. Maybe
Fun fact: I actually worked on like on a government environmental program in New Mexico in order to repopulate small ponds with beavers in order to return indigenous beavers to the New Mexico area so that it would eventually create ponds.
Beavers are like they build the environment, they build wetlands and stuff.
Right.
And so they were like, because the thing is, they're like within like it must have been within the last 200 years that they got rid of the beavers. They killed them all off in this area,
right.
And very quickly it turned to desert. But before that, New Mexico was like almost subtropical, like lagoons and everything all over the place, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Well, I forgot to mention it when we were talking about Namibia. I'm addicted to the sanctuary. It's actually anti-plastic, but they go and catch seals and cut all the plastic off of them and release them back into the wild.
You're addicted to freeing seals? That's the best.
Well,
that's the best
especially
thing
when
ever.
you have two seals stuck together and another third dead seal, and they're trying
It's
to.
pretty horrible.
That's me right there, by the way.
Yeah, as a coastie, yeah, I'm pretty familiar, and I'm glad you're.
Well, I lived in Monterey. I lived there twice.
Yeah, right.
I learned Chinese there, and then I went back and I got my MBA at Monterey Institute.
Dude,
and so of course,
pretty sweet actually. Good place.
The only sound you can hear. Let's forget about education, folks.
Yeah, but actually, like if you're going to learn about marine biology, you should be in Monterey. Yeah.
Screw indoctrination and screw paying for indoctrination.
Yeah, and Monterey's about as close to China as you can be, like as on a plane ride, you know.
Oh, what? What were you talking about there? I don't get it. Are you talking about
just flying back and forth? A lot of people, just Daly City, Monterey. Well, you know, like if you can just fly back and forth. People do, like people live back and forth, just one plane ride away.
Oh yeah. Kind of got confused about the China, but I was in Taiwan, man.
Because you learned Mandarin. That was why I was thinking.
Oh yeah. Well, believe it or not, because I was thinking, are you sure you don't mean Vancouver with that statement?
That would have been better. It's true. It is closer.
Your viewers are probably like, what is he trying to show us? Look, do you see the middle of this? This cut through. I believe that the road cut through the dike at this point.
Gotcha.
But what you see,
that's what I'm all about. I believe that they do this on purpose. They blow up these things because they get a bunch of people to excavate.
I've seen
these roads are all excavation projects. I'm totally convinced of it. That's why they're like, why don't we just take the flat area over there? No, we're gonna go through this mountain. What? Why?
Well, okay, so that brings on the question of my so-called 50-mile long canal in right by the Rashat structure.
Right.
We should probably get back over there and stop boring your audience with pictures of this. But I want to show you two things. First is that there's a crystallized hard middle, and then there's a soft, loose material on the sides. These are walls inside. Look at Ship Rock. Have you seen Ship Rock? I went there a couple times, but the parallelness in these two, to me, I think this is a smoking gun. And I got a sample in the middle of these. So this other mountain over here, this one was a lot shorter. When I climbed the one I just showed you, I climbed it to get to the top. And I didn't walk the whole 12 miles. That's really impossible. But the fact is what's going on here? Okay, so I got a little confused. Cox Peak is there. I guess my theory here is that they're connecting these things to mountains because they're doing ancient mining and pulling the material out, and the tailings have to be dumped somewhere. In this case, it's they're dumping the tailings to control water and create walls and stuff. But what I can show you in the Sahara is they're just dropping it everywhere. I've got lost. What am I not? Why am I lost? Okay, so Pie Town is a good starting point, and you can see this one go up. You kind of see it turn right here. I would have said that's natural, but from what I've seen in South Africa, it really changed my mind about this whole thing. But before we go anywhere, I want to say that this is the Continental Divide right here, and I got a picture. I just want to go up there real quick and show you.
It's
Okay, I see.
fascinating.
I've
you
turned
say
it
that
over.
about-
I didn't realize it was upside down. That's why I was disoriented a minute ago. Sorry about that. But let's keep going. So that's like right here on the 60 in Pie Town. And then Ship Rock is right here. And Ship Rock is definitely a geological. Have you heard of this?
Anomaly, to say the least.
That's a long volcanic one there.
Dang,
And
it's a
then
flume, right?
Look at that one right here.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say, that this is a volcanic
Giant
plug.
walls.
But why do we have this symmetry going on here? Look over
How
here.
long
This
is that flume, by the way?
This
That thing there.
dike.
Yeah.
That's
This is the
dike.
long one.
That's
You
dike.
enter down here on the road and you drive along it. And this one is about 3 miles. By the way, I'm not going to say where, but I ran across an ancient, I believe it's a burial ground. And I'll show you some. I'm not ready to do it right now, but I'll show you some pictures of it sometime. These burial mounds, these little mini burial mounds, and the rocks were so weathered. They must have been 1,000 years old, but they were all like hundreds of them burial sites, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to point where they are, but I drove in here and I went around first as a way to get over here. I got a small sample. I know it's not really proper to be grabbing stuff, but wait a minute. Am I lost again? I'm sorry. I was wrong. I came in over here. So that's the longest one, right? I should have measured that one. That was like 3.5 miles long.
Wow.
It's actually even longer because it goes out to here. And one more thing about it is way out in the state of Arizona. Let's reset to north. Right over here, there's something going on. So it's like, I believe this is, look, I know I sound crazy and I don't like to point at everything and say, oh, that's ancient mining. That's ancient mining. But when it's a different color, I don't think that's a volcano. And I didn't visit that. But the Ship Rock, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, yes, you say fluvial. Fluvial means volcanic, or what is fluvial? Water? I forgot what that is.
Yeah, I think volcanic.
In geography and
Yeah,
geology, fluvial processes are associated with rivers and streams and the deposits and landforms created by them.
I don't really think that could be very fluvial then. This is a big salt flat. I wouldn't call that an alluvial fan, but it's definitely a fan created from water activity, right? And then over here, you've got something. They're definitely not connected. This wall totally separates. And when
the wall is a
take
volcanic.
a look at Wandering Wolf Productions, he visited there and did a lot of great.
Yeah, I'm
drone
about
work.
to do an interview with Mike. He does awesome
Cool.
stuff at Wandering Wolf.
And I wasn't even going to stop there. I was going to go into Colorado, back over here. This is Spanish Peaks. Wait, sorry, right here. And Cuchara is the city, Spanish Peaks. And what I did a lot of looking at were these two crisscross mountains here. I drove there. I mean, I got a small inheritance, which I've pretty much spent, but I said, I'm going to the Rashat. And then I said, okay, I'm going back. But then I also wanted to take some road trips, and I'd been looking at these when I was in Taiwan. I was so poor when SARS
How are
broke
they
out.
X's?
Yeah, how are they?
How
Now
do
let
they
me show
do
you something
cross?
else. Okay, so here's the X right, here's X left. Let's go to X right. Let's take a look at the way this so-called mountain, or DIKE, intersects with this. Wait a minute, is it possible, if you understand the way these things are supposed to have been created geologically, you've got magma coming up and filling cracks, and then those cracks are full, and then later the surrounding stuff erodes away. Well, wait a minute, how does it erode away and leave the loose material that makes it look like a long mountain on both sides? I got so many questions, but this is the
Right?
one right here. Look at the way that arcs up and joints and makes a junction with the other dike. Okay, now watch this. Okay, let's go back to north. I'm sorry, I want to reset it to north. So we're backing out of this one on the right. Now this one meets the top from the northern part to here. This other one kind of disappears. Over here, we got the exact opposite going on. This one disappears into the side, but this other side junctions and joints up and curves upwards. To me, that's engineered. Okay, so yeah, I can show you a lot of. And by the way, all these angles, there's a bunch of them. I can tell you there's not just 2 of those junctioning joints. There's about 13 or 11 or 7. I kind of forgot. So I'm in a different world now. And last but not least, up here, there's this one last one that actually I got to turn on the line. Sorry about that. Everything's on? Okay. Let me just back out and get oriented here. Where's Denver? So that's Denver. So up here, there's this mountain off the 25. Walden's up there. That's where the Colorado River starts. So going down near before Rand, right down here, you've got these 2 Radial Mountain and Haystack Mountain, and this is the Continental Divide. So you've got, again, that one right there coming from the mountain, and then this one right here coming from the mountain, that same curve. And then there's a third one right here. And by the way, I'll just show you what this looks like, because I drove by there. I'm like, uh-oh, I didn't know I'd see one of these here today. And so slow. And when you see these, you're like, what the heck is it? Is that a wall? It just goes up the mountain. And by the way, I think it's put there to...
What? That right? That's a straight wall.
On the other side, there's one too. So it connects. Yeah, let me move around a little bit. I've got all this on my channel. So I've been covering this for a while now. But what I found in the Sahara just recently, within the last couple of months, just blew my mind. And I'm going to show that to you last. I really think I'm not being fair to your audience, because they probably have questions about the Rashad. Are there any? Although I haven't seen them pop up on the screen.
People are down to talk about whatever. I think it's interesting to see New Mexico.
This is all great stuff.
Yeah, and we can get to the Rashad if you feel like it.
Well, I've been there twice. People always want to know that story.
We didn't put it in the title. We put Tamanrasset, so you're allowed to talk about. Let's talk about.
Okay, just like the Texas wall.
Let's finish the wall, and then we'll talk about the Rashad experience.
I want to show you one last thing, and then I just wanted to show you the topography that I grabbed for that, and it's gonna hassle me, right? Always gonna hassle me, because I told you I was using VLA.
Because I've been to New Mexico, and I have some interesting, experiences in New Mexico. I feel like anyone who goes to New Mexico is likely to find that place to be more interesting than you'd think. It's also the epicenter of the Quantum Leap TV show, which is nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We should have known.
They're in a.
I was just watching the new one. I'm
still
caught
not
up.
done that. I don't know if I can never, but we'll see.
Okay, so basically, can you see this right now? There you go.
Totally.
How come I don't see your faces anymore? You gave it full screen, huh? There you are.
You prefer it there.
I missed me. Okay, so basically, my theory is they're taking material from the mountains, or there's the other side where they could actually. I mean, I'm crazy, but talk about Lesotho in South Africa and the landlocked country of Lesotho or Lesotho, and they don't have stuff like this, but they have stuff that's been worked. I don't want to go crazy again like I did on the Jimmy Show. I can't imagine what your audience is going to say about me. But yeah, that's the Continental Divide being directed by 2 of these. And I put the little mountain.
You're literally sounding, I'd say, like saner than the majority of like the guests that I have, at least. So don't worry, you're right on par with the research we do.
And I think it's really important to look into. I mean, some of those things are probably more recent, like in the United States and Native in North America. Like, there's just all these stories and Native American legends that tell us about different environments than what we see now because of all the environmental changes that have happened since the Civil War, or from gold mining in California, or we go over this. Don't worry, the audience is rehearsed.
I tried to catch up because I just met you on the Ian interview you did.
Yeah,
and that was blowing my mind, and I'm like, I can't even keep up with you guys on those topics. But then I did that super chat, and then you're like, Tamanrasset. I was like, whoa, I can't believe he knew that. how did you were going to save it for right now? How did you start to learn about
All right, well, I have some things open about it. Well, we talked about magnetic dikes, which is cool and ironic, but let's see. We talked a bit about magna rivers. I could go to the beginning. When you look at the river systems that existed, and you're trying to say, okay, even recently, how are these stories of people that lived in the desert but had boats, right, or were getting around on boats, and why are we finding whale bones? And we're finding even like the word wadi, because there's all these wadis where they're finding whales. Wadi, it's called a valley or riverine gulch, but it really means a stream that flows. It comes from a word that means just like a flowing water, but now it means sometimes it's like it's part of the year it flows, or even that it's just like the Grand Canyon. It's a canyon now.
Okay.
So the words change its definition. I've always had the suspicion that the Sahara had the same situation, where Sahara used to mean probably lagoon or forest.
Just the idea of if there was this crazy tidal cataclysm, the ocean coming over, and then as it dries out, well, the whales that would have been in there, you know, all the sea animals, they would have gone into these gulges, and then as it dried out, and then eventually died, and that's why you'd find them in those specific areas.
Also, there's just like freaking whales that entered like the Sacramento River and get stuck upstream. Like it happens in California all the time, where a whale gets stuck up in a river because it opens the mouth and it takes a wrong turn and it goes the wrong direction. So the idea also of there's just so much water that animals were all over the place. And because we're looking at areas that are now covered in sand, it makes it a lot harder. But it's also areas that have had wars and have changed. Libya, for instance, there was all these projects such as the Sahara Sea Project, where they tried to build an ocean and a sea.
Muammar Gaddafi was literally terraforming the Libyan desert before.
And that's only because Donald Mackenzie planned to do it in 1877. Scottish entrepreneur, I'll leave it at that. So there's a lot to say about that, but there's even more recent projects to bring it back, but they've always talked about we need to be careful about the ecological feedback loops. So I've been wondering, like, okay, well, what were the ecological feedback loops of something that happened in the past? And the most obvious answer is the Tamanrasset River parity,
Right,
because there's the west and the east and into the Nile, and the Nile has a flow that comes south, which is interesting because of Eritrea, Ethiopia, the flooding coming down from the snowfall in the winter when it comes to spring. So it pushes it up and then it continues out. So you could just see if you look into eco feedback loops, like if you've ever studied eco feedback loops, or you can literally study eco feedback loops, and you can just see how it happened. That very recently, the Tamanrasset was like the most important function of Africa.
As big as the Nile, right? It was as big as the Nile,
or probably more, like
probably bigger. Yeah. No, I want to show you a couple things. Oh, they're never going to let me do this. Let me show you a couple things that I just put together. I don't want to do it the wrong way though. So this is a 1800s I call it the colonialization map of Africa. But do you see how what you got up here is, I don't think I'm going to zoom in, the Rio de Oro. So the Western Sahara, before it was kind of liberated.
Well, I just want to quickly interject. There's all of the maps that are like pre-1500s that literally show a green Africa with all of the former rivers, like with castles and cities everywhere. So it's like, were these maps from the previous time? And that's what before the reset that you're showing.
No, and that's for sure. I mean, okay, see, I think a lot of those maps show rivers because they would still have a little water coming out. Let me get this off the screen and just finish saying that the Tamanrasset comes right out of there. No, I mean, let me show the screen. Right there under the hook of Rio de Oro. That is the Tamanrasset. So why would you know what Rio de Oro means in Spanish? It's river of gold. And Mansa Musa was the richest man in the earth, and he basically mined all the gold from this whole area. Okay, so that was the map that I just saw yesterday and realized, why would the Spanish, before they liberated it, and then Morocco kind of laid claim. There's a big berm going across the Rio de Oro. Sorry, I'm showing this map. This blue line represents the path of the Tamanrasset. Now, I'm not sure because I did this a while ago, and then I thought for sure, you're showing those lakes. There was definitely one Lake Maghreb, but that one you showed shows a lake over here. It doesn't make sense to me. I hope everybody can see my mouse. Otherwise, I'm talking nonsense.
Yeah, we can.
But everything around here, I can show you some crazy ass stuff. What I believe are quarries here. And just recently we found, is it not on this map? Okay, it's on my this viewer of mine's map. We found a new circle, a new Rashat structure. Somebody pointed it out to me. This guy pointed it out to me. And this is only 2 miles wide, but if he's actually put lines on top of the canals that are going through it. Yeah, these are canals. We can look closer and without the lines in a bit, but I just want to show you. First of all, I know they look natural lines. That doesn't look organized to me, but what the hell? Let's get in there and see that. What the hell would create this so-called, if you're talking natural talk, fissure or canal, geological dike or wall, and they're all meeting in the center of this circle? How's that going to happen naturally? Like, what is it, a crater? Usually this is only 2 miles wide, so the center shouldn't have a bulge. A 2-kilometer wide crater doesn't have a mound in the middle in general. So maybe this thing was, okay. So if anybody knows me, I believe the Rashat was created by Carrington event, plasma discharge, maybe from the sun, maybe from another planet, and that looks like the same thing to me. It looks like it's a strike. I don't want to get too deep into it, but the Rashat structure is 45 kilometers wide from shoreline to shoreline, and you've got the rings in the middle. I don't think that's going to be a volcanic. Okay, I better stop saying volcanic. Tectonic dome incline, whatever the hell that is. People, okay, so like Oz Geographics just did a video on it, and this whole Adrar Plateau, he was saying it was a flood channel. That's not a, maybe he was talking about the mouth, but okay, so I'm talking too much now. I should focus on your question.
No, it's chill.
The point is that this is 45 kilometers wide.
And you can talk about the time you were there too, and you can talk about your experiences with it also.
Sure. I better wait and say that because I'm about to spaz. Better not say that either. We could have people in England watching. I can't say the SPAZ word either.
That's Zed here, friend.
That's rude. Okay. Well, anyways, 45 kilometers wide is a lot wider than any volcanic caldera. If you even look on the volcano on Mars, which is like 13 miles high, that is only like this. It's just, I think the tip is like a little bit bigger than this. So I can't see volcanic or tectonic any way that's formed. Now, the Adrar Plateau
like the
is
electric
hard.
universe theory and stuff like Wall Thornhill and stuff like
yes,
it goes
I'm
in
familiar.
Perfectly to what you're saying here. So yeah.
But I like the idea of it. It makes more sense to me. Like it's built. Like this is like it sounds like the Herodotus ring structure, and it serves a function. And this might be actually like geologic dikes, right?
It's circular, right? Well, there was this one thing I was going to give you a quick peek at. The squatting man. First of all, here's a lightning strike on a car.
Oh wow.
That is interesting.
I had not seen that before.
So super lightning. Okay, so this could be also like a Prometheus spot. I like where you're going. Okay.
Yeah. So as far as the creation goes, now what destroyed Atlantis? Now this comes up to me. We're not talking about the whole thing. We're talking about this circle in the middle. I believe that was an impact strike. What happened in the mountains? Geologists who have been there say, "Oh, that's a volcano too." Well, what happened in the mountains if a volcano? I was going to go in there and look at it. If this is called the Sebket El Guelb, and the mountains are gone, so you have to look under this in topographically. This is 800 feet below this other color. This is the Adrar Plateau right here. That's at 2,000 feet above sea level, and then down here where these salt flats have formed, and by the way, there's water down there sometimes. That's 800 feet lower. So where's this dome? There's no dome. It's a bowl. It's a bathtub. And yeah, the rings are the same height as the shore. So by the way, this guy put the line down when I blew his mind. He got into it. That's a projection line. but that brown line is the canal that I discovered that goes right through this. This one here is going a different angle. I should show my map, but it goes all the way through 50 miles from here to here, 50 miles. You get in there and look at it. You can see the straight line. Oh, I can't do it there. I want to try to change it, the direction, the 3D effect. Let me get into Google Earth again.
Diane's asking where this is on a map. I just want to show her this is in like prehistoric Africa. You know?
I'll go in slowly right now so you can see I'm leaving Colorado. Don't worry. Nothing to see here, just South America. Talking
That's
about,
a good way to put it, actually.
We're right here. There's Mauritania. There's the eye. It already looks like an eye, right? Okay, so I'm going to go into the 50-mile long canal because when I left there the first time, I was a little heartbroken about a couple things. And I was like, I'm not betting my life this was Atlantis. I got lost. Hold on. But then I suddenly discovered this. Now, I went to other canals over here. I don't want to zip around too much, but right here, there's something I call Rudolph. I think this is very important, but I don't really know. Like I said, I've got that problem. I just want to get in here and find it without preparing. I'm so sorry. Do you guys like Zoolander 2? Zoolander?
I do like Zoolander 2. Do you like Zoolander 2 as well?
One of my favorite soundtracks of all time, and I love. That's why I'm making all these faces. Will Ferrell, not Will Smith. Will Ferrell saying, "Sorry." See how bad I am.
I didn't think Zoolander was like that important, and then I met a model, and she told me about because she was like, "You're into conspiracy theories. How have you not gone through Zoolander? That's the most gnarly conspiracy movie ever. It's all about MK Ultra mind controlling models into training people to love to buy trash." So they can look like homeless people. And I was just like, oh man, like you've lived it. You get it. Like, and she's
I have yet to watch the Zoolanders.
Yeah, you gotta watch Zoolander and like think about how David Duchovny's in that movie. It's like there's a lot going on, dog.
I was going to try to say a line from there, but I couldn't spit it out because I'm so flustered. Now I found it. Here's the canal.
It's inside the computer.
Yeah, that's the first one. And his dad was in it, and just so many. I mean, do you already start to see something going on here when you zoom in? A separation of the mountains.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Then,
yeah,
that's the starting point for my 50 miles. Now, obviously, here it looks like maybe it got flooded over. So, give me a break. Nothing's perfect.
Actually, yeah, I've seen a video of some guy that was out in there.
Okay, so that's another one. That was me. You're talking about me. I mean, look, there's all sorts of projects like mining and stuff that's going on here, and
yet these straight lines are still happening.
Yeah, and then you can still see this when you get in. You can see how the even though there's more sand showing, you can see like right through here how the outcrop on this side creates that shore, and there's another one here, and then you back out, you can find a big one there. Look at this one. Now, I didn't walk down this one. I'll go to the ones I walked down because there's something I want to show over there. But I want to show you some canals by the Tamanrasset River itself with intersections and stuff. I mean, and I'm not saying this was all happening at the same time. Whenever the Tamanrasset was operational, they probably were making canals next to it. And I'm sure it's going to be operational again. Look at this part. Look at that. Look at this. I mean, what else is that? Oh, I got a lot of trolls that can tell me exactly what that is, and it's not. I'm the guy they talk about.
Martian surface.
Yeah, I'm in Mars.
Unless there's like 30 oil wells, or oil pipelines buried there,
Right,
yeah,
you're right about that, and it's important to acknowledge modern day stuff could have happened. So I'm always. That's why it's something you had said earlier. I think we got down to the end. There's this one last part right about here, where you have two cuts through this part, and then that's it. You're basically going across what I think was an ancient sea, and you're looking right at the mouth of the Rashat structure. Now, let me ask you one more thing. I don't care.
There it is, right there.
I don't.
Canal
if it's a dome,
to inland Atlantis Sea, right?
Now,
is that?
I believe there was an ancient sea here, and look at. I want to talk about so many things. Let me say one thing: that this bowl here, okay, let me go over to my thing here. The so-called shoreline here actually goes to about here. You can kind of see I followed it here. I have my reasons for saying that. But anyways, that means that this whole area, 1.5 miles, is cut through. That's what I call the mouth of the Rishat. But all these so-called natural processes that would have created this, how did that mouth get created? It's 1.5 miles wide. So the canal's pointing straight at it. And I forgot.
Yeah, it's perfect.
If I answered, yeah, it's like what?
Zoom out just a little bit more. Zoom out just a little bit more. Okay, so I just want to show people this map compared to, you know, this map with like our lake structures here. I'll pull back your map for a second. Hold on. Yeah, pull out just a little bit more.
By the way, this is called Tamanrasset.
Yeah, just a little bit further.
Like that?
Yeah, you can go a little further in, but that's okay. You can still get the point. That's pretty good. You know, that you've got this idea of where the water leads also up in the north above it. Like there's wherever this estuary is that they're talking about in ancient lakes of the Sahara, right? So
which country? The estuary where?
I think it's Algeria is up here. This is that giant lake that's no longer there that you
this
you
would
were
be
questioning.
the Maghreb Sea, and down here is Lake Chad. We know about those. We've seen the other ones. I kind of didn't. That one right there, I don't know. Okay, look at that body of water. I don't know how they came up with that, but I'm curious. First of all, this thing over here on, oh, you can't see my mouse. The one on the left.
I'll go back to your mouse.
The one on the left. No, keep that because it looks like. I'm just curious how they came up with that. I really would love to know. And then that other body of water over there to the right. I actually was just saying I thought there was a body of water there. And all that water, I think, was pretty much what flooded Atlantis.
Yeah. And so, like, if you imagine, like you were showing all these routes, and they're thinking, wow, well, we've got rivers. What if we made our own rivers?
Right.
That's what it's starting to look like to me.
Let me say, there are signs that basically, this thing is the distance between that new circle. I just want to say that you can argue whether or not those are canals right there, but
interesting, right?
When you follow them down, they do make turns and stuff, and junction with other stuff, and the way it cuts through this bedrock, I can show you.
Not very natural.
One. Yeah, and so the Tamanrasset River was right here. Let me just say one more thing. I'm going to flip this around and zoom in to the north shore of the Adrar Plateau. This is a 200-mile long shoreline, and down below it, again, 800 feet, you've got basically the bottom of a sea. But how far north does that go? You don't know because it's covered with sand. I have one big mystery, but I believe that these walls were some type of a holding for the seawall, maybe here as well. But what about this one? Why is there a shoreline here? Well, maybe that this was another wall right here. Let me go north so you can see that. I'm spitballing here about stuff that I shouldn't even be talking about, but it seems to me like that could be another wall that held in water. And yeah, when I believe that this thing was an impact, the Sebket, it's 2 kilometers wide. This is 2 kilometers wide. I believe that's an impact. Oh, by the way, I just did a video. This is a dam right here. This is a dike. You can't see it, but when you look at the video that I just did, I could find the picture. There's a line here blocking water. There's a line right here that I never noticed until I recently saw this one picture somebody posted. I think it's LiDAR. And I'm not a big fan of LiDAR in the desert, and there's a couple of other lines. So there was water control going on up here. And you can see that they were going across rivers. This one goes across two, this one and this one. Look, I can show you a lot more crazy stuff. Just little signs of canals. This is an airstrip. I don't know why the hell they would want to fly there to this place, but above the airstrip is another one of these canals.
Probably to drop off Toyotas.
For China?
No, for like, is this Sudan or where is this?
This is still Mauritania. Yeah.
Oh, is it Mauritania?
This is
well, then maybe the Mauritanian government. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just imagining like the late the 90s.
Algeria there by that point too.
Yeah.
Let me make a new point. the parallel canals. I've been talking about these for a long time, and I finally walked down this part of it right here. This is a canal. That's a canal. And you can get in there and tell me whether or not you think it. Let's start at the top. We'll go through this. Sand covered that part. This thing is full of trees up here. It kind of starts here, barely. And I probably walked in this part. I'd know more now, and I'd do it again. But this is too straight to be created by water.
So you walked through there. Was there...
I drove and I hiked about a mile or so to get to there, and then later I found a road right there. So I could have just I discovered so much when I actually went.
Pictures or video of it?
Yeah, there are. Yes, I could open up my channel and grab those for you. I just kind of want to show you in Google Earth first. Believe it or not, I kind of did a crappy job filming this area. I even took a drone, but unfortunately, I gave up with the drone. I believe it kind of went all the way down here, and then you've got this other one up here. That blue-purple line is just a projection line, but something opened that up with flood event. That's a flood event right there, right? And you have more of that over here. And there's a lot of, every red line is a little segment of a canal somewhere. But this is the highest point in the in the Adrar Plateau. It looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like, look at his magic nose. The reason why I'm pointing that out is because there's score lines. Okay, so you can see what I believe is like either not quite a shoreline, but the edge of the cliff is right where I'm showing. But you've got these score lines going across not just this mountain. This is a mountain. I got pictures of that. But there's another one over here. So there's a saddle between them, but there's a score line going through that one as well.
Wow.
So, was it some type of overburden dumping for ancient mining? Look at the ones over here on this side of it. So they were carving down the highest point, I believe. I believe these are quarry marks, not canals.
It makes so much sense when we talk about the idea of floating papyrus on blocks. So they're wondering, how can you bring something from this part of Africa to that part of Africa? How are you getting these stones to the pyramids? I mean, they could have come as far as they needed to come from, as long as they're floating, and they're just floating across these canals, right?
I personally think that those score lines are pretty parallel. That guy who did that for me, he also was looking at quarries, but I really see any top structure you see in this whole area looks like it's been worked. Now, the top of the Adrar is kind of an exception, but all this stuff over here, by the way, that's a straight 35-mile long straight line. Like, that could have been a cut through or a canal. But all these top surfaces, if you look at the topography, you can see all these top surfaces. You can't even get up there. You have to climb up there. The road doesn't go there. Nobody lives up here. They've been worked. And there's that one that I said had the shoreline that confuses the hell out of me down here. I know the guy that owns these trees, he said. And he goes there, and I'm invited to go there, and I might take him up on it. I believe that this is all machined and worked. And when you get in there, you see two things: it's parallel cuts and then like a 45-degree cut. Now, I know it's not perfect. It's kind of chaotic, but this is the last thing I'm going to show you. Then I'm going to take a break and let you reset. Over here, let me just show you how to get there, because I want to be transparent about all the findings. If you look at this area here, you can see that white dot. It's just above there is what I call the Giant's Quarry, because most of these quarries look like they almost could be natural, but when you see this, and you'd have to take a camel to get there. This whole area has been quarried.
Absolutely.
And I used to think this was natural. I used to say, "Oh, that's beautiful nature." But when you look at it in this direction, let me back out a little bit to make sure I'm there. You can see how they. Okay, I'm a little lost. Let me change it. It's this part right here. So let me shift that. You can see these straight lines. They're like 6 miles long.
So
from that
good,
spot
yeah.
over here to here. These are some type of quarry lines. And when you talked about Utah, I now believe that Canyonlands was a big, huge quarry. Fest. I can show you a bunch of stuff over there, but
absolutely
so much, there's so much. And
it's so good.
Right. We're all about this stuff.
A lot of these lines are, when I say modern day, I'm not talking about the last 100 years. I'm talking about the last 1,000 or 2,000. They were quarrying this stuff. They were taking these big stones somewhere. And this is not the biggest quarry site. I could keep going, and the thing is that I'm going to move away to Algeria to show you that. Algeria has this national
Perfect.
park called
Yeah.
the Tasil Najer.
It's all about Algeria, dude. It really
Algeria,
is.
the biggest country in Africa.
Algeria and Libya, right? It's like
By the
And
way-
Libya for sure, or AKA like
Here's the
formerly
border. Go
South
to
Spain.
Planetary Valley. Here, take a look at this picture. I know I want to show you so many things, and I have to be careful. Where the F did that picture go? I had it ready for you. Now I can't find it. Dang it. What did I do with it? Okay, there it is.
Dude, you're using some epic Utah language right now. I just want to give you applause and accolades.
Well,
we got them round balls. I've got some
these
round balls in
concretions.
Berta.
Now, the only thing that I think that this is in called Planetary Valley, Libya. Getting there, I don't know how.
What a name, yeah.
Well, and you'll see why in a moment. Planetary Valley, it's right here. The thing we have to do is first of all, let me show it to you. So let's just show everybody how to get there. So as you can see, this is the Algeria and Libya border. There's that line right here. I've done a million videos on this. Wait till you see the face. It's saying that somebody didn't create that face. Okay, never mind. Get back to this. So Planetary Valley, it pops up right about here. Let me show you first so we can see it clearly what we're looking at. I believe it's some type of ancient mining overburden dumping. And it was done in some level where this stuff got spewed off like welding. You've ever been in an environment where people are welding and there's little balls all over the floor, metal spherules, right? So I think this is like the same thing where people were processing the material in Algeria, and then they were spitting it out over here, and it was getting processed. And let me make sure that we got our layers set so I can find it. Everything. Yeah, there it is. Planetary Valley. And that place, so they call these concretions. And one thing I understand is there's other words for them too. One thing I understand is that
concretions.
Yeah, but we can't say them on air. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, the other word is testicles.
Oh yeah, no, there. What is that? Okay, there's a word for that? I'm sorry.
No,
Keep
I'm
going.
just joking, by the way. That's a joke.
Tendon balls. Tendon balls is what we used to call them.
Tendon balls.
That's
or
right.
Titan tree seeds.
That's
the
right.
lake, that's really important. I don't really believe that lake's there. I've kind of looked around. I haven't found the lake yet.
Wait, what do you mean? Is there a picture of a
lake? There was a picture of a lake in there. And here.
Oh, you think it's false? Okay.
Well, sometimes stuff like that happens. Like, who put that there? Where's the lake? Like, I guess there's actually, maybe we could click on that and find it, but
it's a mirage.
Maybe we'll try that. I kind of don't want to navigate away right now.
Fair. Continue on our journey.
This is Planetary Valley. That's Libya, but right next to it is the Tasil Najer National Park. Let's get back north so I can navigate better and get to. Basically, it looks like someone took a water brush paint watercolor, and kind of like put water all over this and smeared it around.
Like minerals and stuff. Like
my favorite place to visit is right here, just in the middle. You've got this fissure from some type of a water event, or who knows if it came first. I believe it came after the mining, because this to me is a quarry. Okay, don't tell me that's natural erosion. I mean, you look at the stuff in Canyonlands, Utah. You find stuff you're like, okay, that's natural, right? But
quarry or city.
This looks like a computer circuit board. Okay.
Yes,
and
sir.
Let me show you the favorite part. And maybe some of it's more modern day, like not too modern. Let me turn it like this. So when you get in here, and where do I go? I go right here. No, that's not it.
More macro circuitry in the heart of Africa.
If you measure that corner to this corner, and you measure this corner to this corner, I might as well do it for you, right? Let's just measure this corner to this corner of this rectangle. It's 1.24 miles. And then you get up and you start again. Or let's just move it like this and put it about, well, I like to follow the line to right about here, but it's all relative. And what is the number? 1.23? We can get 4. There you go. 1.24 miles. I mean, that's like a perfect rectangle. Yet you still see what I believe is that they would do all this mining, and they would process it, and they would pour the material on top, and create these mounds. I can show you several examples. That reminds me of one. That's not perfect because it looks like the lines are showing through it. A lot of times you see a mound and you see the line go underneath it, but the mound came later. We can find a lot around here. You could look through here. This is massive area, and nobody's acknowledging that this is a quarry. Oh, that's natural. That's called needling, right? That's a needling.
It's so clear. Like earlier, Melissa had made the comment that it seemed like, as advanced as this ancient civilization is, that they did not really align themselves with nature, right?
Well, maybe because look at the angle. Let's go back in there. Maybe it was a previous axis of the Earth, and maybe that was a previous north right there, and this was west, and that was south. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to make a claim to know. A lot of people get on my nerves when we've had this many axes, all these lines. But I mean, I see these lines. I'm a Google Earther, and I see these lines. To me, that looks like something created, not natural. And this whole area, this Tahsil Najer, it's on my bucket list. I mean, let me show you. So basically, it's this whole area. That's like 700 miles across. This is why I kind of suspect it wasn't humans. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Just 200 miles across. I made a mistake. My last thing, because I feel like I discovered it, is this dude here. You remember Peter Max, the guy that did Yellow Submarine?
Oh, yeah.
He did the art. It reminds me of some Peter Max painting, right? Let me turn off all the pictures because we really don't need the words. And by the way, Jimmy keeps talking about this volcano, but nobody's showing this. That's called the Eye of the Desert in Chad. It looks almost exactly like that one, but this one is
wow.
I forget how wide this one is. So that's 7 miles wide. Yeah, but let me show you what I think is really important that everybody ignores. Let me get the shirt off. No, just joking. Okay, so here's the lips, right? Let's back out one more time.
Yeah.
That's a chin, that's a nose. It's a Roman nose, right? And then you got whatever these lips are. Well, right at the bottom, you've got this structure here. Now, again, I don't believe it's a river. I don't believe it's a river. It's like a canal, right?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
That long, but you've got these perpendicular, and by the way, the perpendicular part doesn't touch it. You've got these angles. So you've got the long perpendicular that never directly touches the main, but you've got these, but wait, it was this agriculture? Let me back out. You say that's natural. Okay, slow down.
Probable.
Let's go over here real quick. Right? What the hell? You see these lines coming from the mountains, and there's these
giant terraces of canals for agriculture, essentially.
Yeah, or environmental terraforming, really, for terraforming.
Definitely megalithic terraforming.
Because you have flooding, and then you can grow rice paddies or whatever the heck they're growing, which could be lotus paddies, papyrus, pre-genetically designed corn, maize. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Well, it's I've found identical stuff in the faces of Alberta that I went and found.
The Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China is 13,000 miles long. I mean, I'm not surprised if I find tons more things. Isn't that right? Is that wrong?
I don't know about 13,000. That sounds a little bit. I mean, it does break up. I was just looking at it. I think it's a little broken up. Look at that 90-degree angle right there. Anyways,
I think it's. I'll look it up on Wikipedia. I think that's what I remember. Something like that, right?
I always just ask ChatGPT nowadays.
21,000 kilometers.
What?
13,000 miles.
You're probably right about this. Yeah, my gosh, that's longer than I thought. I would have to research that a little more because I was
Wikipedia. It says right here.
But you guys are the Tartaria believers, and they say that wall actually came from before.
Bloomberg, yeah.
The Great Wall of Tartaria. It goes from Crimea up across all of Siberia. It's like literally.
I'm so glad you've had your Tartarian upgrades. All right.
Well, we can talk about what I know, what I don't know. But the Star Fort in New Mexico, have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
They're like, it was built during the Civil War. It was built during the Civil War. And then you're like looking at this foundation next to their adobe houses that are. They're like, well, they tore it down a couple of days. Why did they do that? How did they do that? That doesn't look like something you could just tear down. Okay, last point about this place is it's not just down here. It goes into the mountains. This whole frigging mountain, you can start to see
Right,
the
so it
angle.
collects the water from the mountains and then irrigates it down to all of these things. Like it's just such advanced ancient macro terraforming for agriculture.
Is what you would say if you were using conjecture. Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah, I'm not going to conjecture. By the way, now you see my there's the two events happened here. You've got these so-called I call them there's two types of these geological volcanic structures. One is volcanic. The other ones, they're just poo-poo mountains. Poo-poo. Somebody poo-pooed it. And this could be one or the other. I'm going to show you some better examples of that. But
is that like the like name of it in Algerian, or is that like a Welsh hill?
Do you okay? So I think these were laid out just like the ones I showed you.
Yeah, like this is like on the grapevine of California, and you see some of these like little leftover like gold rush hills by the side of the roads, right? Okay.
Well, we're seeing what perfect. Okay, so the ones that I've been studying are about 1/10 of a mile wide.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I climbed in New Mexico, by the way, really almost kicked my ass. I almost lost my life. I got to the top and I was like, I'm out of shape. That's the point. And, I couldn't stop coughing. I wonder why. Anyways, which came first there? Those lines on the top or the terraforming that we saw over at the other end? So I think there's two different events here, but that brings up my next point. And I'm ready to take like when you get to these circular dikes in Niger, the one that looks like Homer Simpson, doesn't it look like a giant Homer Simpson head with a small Homer Simpson
God,
face?
It does.
Simpsons did it.
Circular dikes now. Apparently.
That makes perfect sense to me.
That's what they call them. I think it's all BS. I'm going to tell you why. Here's another one here. Okay, let's go to a city called Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is right here. Let me turn the photos.
Sounds like the future is in Tel Aviv. I want to
Tel
go there.
Aviv is right here. We can explore maybe. And
Tell me a bit about Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Tell a bit about Tel Aviv. I don't know anything about Tel Aviv. Okay, so this is Mali, and Timbuktu is definitely on.
Don't bust that out on the show.
Close to Timbuktu.
Timbuktu, and by the way, I just showed you these lines and questioned whether or not they looked like those Kalahari canals down south. So those lines are there. I mean, okay, like you were saying about like give me the proof. You were mentioning something about a modern day thing that made, like, for example, I think that the Great Wall goes back a little too far, but modern day stuff. Oh, you were mentioning the guy that was doing the stuff in Libya. I want to know where that is, and I want to look at it because maybe I'm looking at stuff.
Right? They're trying to give credit for older work, or he's trying to upgrade the ancient system, sort of thing.
Right, Gaddafi knew, man.
There's something called a qanat. These holes that move water around the desert. They're all over Morocco. These qanats, and I cannot tell you how crazy that is. Let me get back to Tel Aviv, and then I cannot. Bad joke.
I like a pun here.
That was great. I was laughing. I was just muted.
Okay, so I believe these circular dikes were created. Now, these ancient miners were going across the desert, getting rid of their extra stuff, creating these lines. I don't think those are natural. I don't want to say it out loud. Maybe they were there to control water, but when you get up to Tel Aviv, I mean, look at this one. And when you get up to Tel Aviv, you're like, okay, now that is a little more organized. Where is it? Right here. Look at this. Now, let me show you a picture of what you're looking at. These aren't a 1/10 of a mile wide. These are only about 60 feet wide, but you see them going over each other. So all these long straight lines is now a mountain. Okay. And over here, you can kind of see them cross hatching over one another and crisscrossing, just like those ones in Namibia that I showed you earlier. This is it right here. And then when you see this shift right here, that looks like a tectonic change right there. Because you should see that should be there and that should be there.
Break the bust in the dam, but on both sides are there, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's so many breaches. I think that they were trying to control this ancient river, and look at that. That totally breached it there. And sometimes you can see. Look at that. It looks like grandma's cross stitching or whatever.
in the
Let me show you a
ancient
picture. I
massive
want to show you a
lakes and
picture.
inland seas of Africa and how they controlled it. And I
Right,
found
right.
identical broken dikes and infrastructure for the Grand Canyon in what I believe was the great pyramid complex of the Grand
I
Canyon
think that I can
system.
show you what you're telling me about. Polygonal cuts, crisscross
Yeah, and
cuts.
they had like these.
And
There was one they claim white limestone and red sandstone, identical dikes, one next to each other, and both broken right in the
I
center
want
of
to
the
see that.
valley.
I want to make sure I haven't seen that before. I've been looking there. I believe that the entire Colorado River was a place where ancient beings were doing placer mining and using the water.
Yeah, like the master
What
build,
is
the
this?
original master builder macro terraforming society, right? It's the demigods wherever they came
The
from.
one that's in New Mexico right there. Yeah, that one in New Mexico, it looks just like it looks like one of the best star forts, and they're saying, oh yeah, the Civil War soldiers built that.
Sure they did.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. Wait, was
Well,
that New Mexico? Yeah,
well,
there's
let's do the Chinatown thing just for a second again, just because it's fun. Okay, so you've got like this is today, right? And like this is maybe a little bit more of a today, but the past, but it's today. And you can see Salt Lake City over here. But like, remember what Chinatown's about. It's about taking away the river. So remember the Colorado River. Look at some of these cool maps, like the military maps, right, which are pretty wild, like the Army Corps.
What that's showing is the ancient versions of that same river. Go on.
According to the Army Corps of Engineers, exactly. The ancient, according to the Army Corps of Engineers. So how ancient are the Army Corps of Engineers? Anyway, here's the Colorado River.
Why do they care, right?
Yeah, because it matters. And so when you start to think about the ecosystems and how this works, it's a big deal. And it's also just a reminder, get beavers, because beavers will save nature. Like you put them back in here and they'll literally reconnect all of these, and it'll all
make so many extra nice skating rinks in Canada for half of the year,
Well, think about the Chinatown compared to ancient giants manipulating the continental divide. And you know what that means, right? It means that on one side the water goes out the Atlantic, on one side it goes out the Pacific. Colorado River, it goes all the way up into Colorado and twists around. I think they controlled it. They manipulated it.
In 1811, they said the Colorado River went backwards.
Right? In when? 1811?
Yeah, for 2 years, supposedly, it ran backwards.
So from 1811 to 1812, and they also have like the meteor, the Napoleon meteor shower of 1811 to 1812.
There was, you see like plasma stuff in the sky, supposedly, and all sorts of massive earthquakes. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
You have the idea Lake Cahuilla. I mean, I can't point at my armpit, but Baja California. Oh, and by the way, it's mirrored, so the other arm. But the armpit is where the Colorado River comes out, right? They're not showing the Baja in that one picture. There you go. It comes out right there in the armpit of Baja California, right? Sounds a little rude, so I'll say it again. The armpit is San Felipe. I've been there, but just north of the U.S. border is where the ancient Lake Cahuilla was. Even just 500 years ago, there's a big lake. Maybe that's what filled up and went in the opposite direction somehow. I mean, I'm not one to point at somebody and say you're freaking crazy, but when you hear stuff like that, what was that one hole? Is that in Arizona?
No, this is a Yemen Qanat, right? Like, so there's a few of these gin hover. Yeah, so we're talking about canals. You've been talking about some canals, and so I thought we'd talk about Qanats and canals, right?
Similar to like in Peru and also in Iran, they have them.
Yeah, and underwater tons. Obviously, you'll see them in like you know, Bermuda and stuff.
Well, then there's a bunch of them in Morocco, and there's a guy that he actually pointed me at Lesotho and said, "Take a look there," and I just couldn't stop looking. South Africa. I haven't even started. I think I'll keep it simple when I show you a little map and all the things. I should show you a couple of things, but let me show you this, because this is one of those so-called. This is a photo from that area right here. This picture here. All these things, they're like when you were at the beach and you made the dribble sand castles. These are piles of rocks. That's not a mountain that was. I bet you if you do a dig, you're going to get the floodplain color underneath that.
And there's lots of piles like that also in South Africa and Siberia.
Yes.
That are all these anomalous, just what the F's, and they all ancient macro mining is the most likely explanation for sure.
So go to at Zero Control, his channel. I should have given him a shout out. He was one of the first people that recognized the stuff I was finding, because I wasn't always about the Rashad. I was looking all over the world. But when you see this little notch here, by the way, that little blue thing, that's a diamond mine. And you look at these dumps.
Dang.
These are called overburden dumps. These little dimples, they're piles of rocks. They're 20 feet across.
You know how they get a lot of these ants? You get these diamonds with ants.
This is modern day. This is a modern day mine. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They'll use ants to actually grab diamonds, because the ants will go and they'll make these ant hills and they'll pull out the diamonds and pull them out. Yeah. So this is a natural process. Yeah.
Well, most diamonds have three things. Most of these mines have three things. You've got your pits, your strip mining. You've got the water places for things to leach. And you mentioned South Africa. There are stone circles down there that Michael Tellinger was always saying they were part of the gold mining process. I can show you those up in Mauritania. And then you've got the dumps. And the dumps is the disposal of the unneeded stuff. Maybe later people will go there and they will find use in that. That's a mountain now. Okay, but anyways, I really wanted to show you what I think is more ancient. But when we talk about these pits and these leaching, what do you call that?
Keenan gifting 10 memberships. Merry Christmas, everybody. Love you.
Oh,
Merry
awesome.
Christmas, Keenan.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Okay, let's go back to what I want to show you. Thank you so much, Keenan, for supporting this host.
Word, guys.
We're talking about important stuff. Look at this phallic penis right here. It's called Mohale's hook. I did a small short.
It always gets back to just a giant
gets back. Look at the little testicles right there. Okay, so
that's true.
When you get in here, you see again some type of smelting pit. You get this mound. Maybe that came out of here. I believe this was ancient work, but there's these channels. They go up into the mountains, and this one is kind of weird. It obviously it was part of this river, right? They're trying to control the river. I don't know. Maybe they didn't dam it. Maybe they controlled it, made it go this way. But on the other side, you've got these things coming back. This turns into a double wide up here. These mountain, these roads, these things are all over. Let me just show you my map. And then you can see all the work. How do I show you? Go to the top. They recently changed everything, and then go to the bottom. We want this one. Lines in South Africa. There we go. So it's all opening up on the same map, which is kind of cool. Look at as we go back in there. That big one, forget that. I was just marking an area that I needed to do another look. Some of these lines are 40 kilometers long. Actually, this one right here is over 100. It's got a couple of breaks in it. But what you see are these channels that go up into the mountains. This one right here, very interesting channel, and it's got a line.
How like man. Yeah.
It's connecting. Let me show you on the clean map. We coming out of here.
Wow.
And by the way, I still haven't finished one thing. You can follow this lineup. So here, this thing turns here, cuts across, and then arcs this direction, and then becomes a parallel structure on this side. It goes in the mountain, kind of disappears. But there's another line that it meets, and I'm going to go in here and show you something that I discovered.
After the flooding, dealing with all the water would have been hard, wouldn't it?
Well, this is down in South Africa. How can it be from an ice sheet that was north? I just want to follow this line and show you something. This thing is called, I call that Stig's Temple because I found it, right? Nobody even knows it's there. That's a house right here. That's a house.
Okay. What? So that's like an ancient Starford pyramid. What?
This is where that kid lived in that Rescue Rangers movie.
Where is this?
This is South Africa. Oh, this is Lesotho. This is in Lesotho right now, but it's right on the border.
Amazing.
You can see this ancient line going along.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you're in South Africa, Travis did ask what Southern African castle star forts you know. So I think we're starting to answer your question right now. That's cool.
I've got this for star forts. I don't know.
Oh, that's a pretty picture. Google.
I got to give credit to the star fort person. There's a couple of star forts. One in
Jacob Beagle.
There's one here and one down in Cape Town. The star fort in Cape Town. Where did it go? It's right here. It's a part of. That's a nice one.
Voila.
That's a nice one.
That's pretty.
It's got all 5 points still. this wall looks like they tore down
Wow.
that outer wall.
Right,
And
they
by the
put in
way,
the
look at
train
this.
track right
You've got
next
that
to it.
inner point, but you don't have them
Cunningham
here.
wrote
You don't have them here.
Oh, look at that. The train yard would actually connect into their underground infrastructure of the macro scale of it. So
sweet.
That's fascinating.
Let's look at this other one. It's up here. This guy, I'd love to give him credit, but I forgot his name. I don't want to take credit for this map that he's compiled. What we can do is I can share this in the chat, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
is this Jacob Bogle? No, not him.
Where did it go? There it is, right here. So this one is, it's okay. It looks like they tore out the wall for the street.
But still, you see, yeah. Wow.
And you know, one thing you can do with see this map. This is not Google Earth. There's no little street view, which is a shame. So you got to go and figure out where it is. You're talking about South Africa temples. You know who Michael Tellinger is? Mm-hmm. He claims that this, which is right here. This is his Adam's calendar. I'll tell you how to find it. Eswatini is another landlocked country, but it borders with two countries. This is South Africa. If you go to the very top and you go to the very west part and make an imaginary line, you got yourself a corner. And then you have something that looks like New Jersey up here. So that's it right there. Let me get rid of these words. Oh, actually, what did I do? Oh, I'm in the Star Forts map. Let me go back over here. I already forgot. Where was I going?
Michael Challenger's.
Michael Tellinger. Right. So, right here. So we're up here. We zoom in, and then we start to see New Jersey right there. Is that New Jersey? Anyways, that's a plateau that has Adam's calendar on it. It's right there.
Wow.
And there used to be, when you put everything, it would show Adam's calendar, but then somebody removed it. Somebody doesn't want you to know.
Somebody mischievous.
And then you can also look at the photos. And you can see a nice shot of Adam's calendar from across the way. There's a photo here. And that's not Adam's calendar. So they're trying to hide it, but there's a photo of Adam's calendar. You can't really zoom in here, but that's clearly it if you watched his videos. So I would love to get this.
So hold on. Before you leave that area, isn't there supposed to be like two giant black pyramids adjacent across the valley from there?
That looks like that's it. I don't know. Wait, you say that and I see a lake. So the valley's clearly on the right-hand side here, right? That's Adam's calendar. And I don't know. I've never heard about pyramids, but I can show you more terraforming, crazy terraforming in this area. They've manipulated everything. It's all been manipulated over, I'd say, millions of years. Let me show you how to get there. Did we answer your question about Adam's calendar though? The pyramids? I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm looking at. So
no worries.
So anyways, let me get out and show you what I'm talking about. I want to make it really easy for the viewers to find this stuff themselves. So I'm going to get rid of everything and just go clean. The thing is Lesotho, you can see it without borderlines on the map. Why is it totally visible? That's Lesotho pretty much. There's some variations, but when you zoom in over here, you see this little. Okay, so I showed you that diamond mine. That's the Lesotho. It's a big escarpment. It's called the Great Escarpment. But the thing is that this is the part of the escarpment. It goes underneath Lesotho and pops back out right here. Look, I question all this geology. Like, how are those formed? I don't think that's natural. But let's go and take a look at stuff we can actually wrap our heads around. This little zipper, whatever you want to call that, has some stuff in it. This is all on my little chinks. What's going on there? Do you see those parallel ridges? Don't get confused by stuff that's not. That's something else. But you can see how these mountains are having lines. This is part of the matrix that goes like 40 kilometers. And they're all over here. I believe all these mounds are fake. Maybe mining, maybe some type of purposeful terraforming.
Mm-hmm.
You get lines like that, and they look natural when you just see that one. But when you back up and you see that this whole area has been worked, and I can, like I showed you in this picture, they're all over. They're all over. That's Lesotho, especially this area. so-called escarpment that this is the highest part right here. Part of me thinks that might be overburden dumping also. Some ancient million-year-old project. I mean, there's just so cray roads everywhere down here. They're ancient lines. You can get lost for hours, and I've done it. And those aren't roads. You can sometimes see a modern day fence that looks like it's a one of these same things. I just gave up at mapping it because it was just, I thought I can find some order, and that's one thing that I still haven't found is order. It's like they were just blindly making these things. Anyways, I'm going to take a break and let you talk and get reset because I always get so distracted. I'll just stop sharing my screen and we can talk. Oh, what happened to...
Take that, Bernie. No, sorry.
I didn't do that to Bernie. Let me mute my microphone for some other sounds.
There you go. Now we're even.
Really coughing.
I was interested just because we talked about the Great Wall of China. I was like 13,000 miles, 20,000 kilometers, 21,000 kilometers. What's the deal with that? It's interesting because it zigzags around. It has some ports that come back and forth here. There's this little area here. There's all these walls there. So I find it interesting. Yeah,
it's actually as chaotic as the ones in South Africa that I just showed you. It's like, I mean, I know that you've got a curve to go around mountains and stuff, but why would they double up right by the Yulin, the one right in the middle, the Great Wall Yulin? It doubles up, and why would they make two?
Just in case one didn't work or something. I mean, I don't know.
I recently saw a really interesting video about it. It was definitely connected to the Tartarian theory, and it was all about how this one part near the ocean, near I guess not Shanghai, but that Shanghai Guan, I guess the Shanghai door.
Shanghai
Guan, I believe, means doorway, or it's really a giant door, right? Something about that and the fact that they could have just gone around it. Like, why would they build that when you can just literally jump in a boat and get on the other side? I mean, I know that, of course, there's other things. We have the same thing happening with our border in California and Mexico. People could go around it, and people are creating submarines and going around it. But was it really originally a Chinese creation? Is what they were saying.
Well, it's the funny thing. It's like, what is China? Like, because whoever inherits China becomes China, right? If a bunch of people get a plague and die out, they're no longer China. If new people move in, they're China. I think that's the thing, right? Like, China isn't necessarily...
You look at the Forbidden City, and it's a giant macro chip, and like the walls are called the Tartar Walls originally, and Peking City originally, right?
Interesting, yeah. And that whole area above that was Tartaria originally, right?
And that the canals of China, especially like the Three Gorges Dam area and stuff, but like before, they just got them like reworking, but it's like they were originally built like thousands of years ago and credited to be some of the most ancient canals and inner like just mass terraforming of the ancients. It's crazy.
When they have to be more than when they have to be thousands of years old, then I suddenly think that they're even much older than that.
Exactly.
And I was right there in Taiwan, living 25 years, and nobody. I was 100 miles from Yonaguni as the crow flies.
Oh wow!
And, I never went there because it was Taipei, the capital of.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I should mention, and just because I never do this, I did write 2 books under a pseudonym, Gitz Ferrari. If you know my middle name is Stig, then Stig backwards is Gitz, and then Ferrari is a cool car. This is not SARS was the original name of COVID. So this is the breakout in 2002. There was a breakout. Now this looks like it's sex tourism or pornography. It's not. It's a true story. You can read it on Amazon. The ebooks are.
It looks like a Canadian like health pamphlet on like how not to get
this is exactly how you get SARS. Okay? That's exactly how. And by the way, I changed all
back
their
me
faces.
up, Bernie. Yeah,
that's not my real face.
Bernie's like, I've seen that in school. Yeah.
If you know what a white monkey is, you know that I was one in Taiwan, but not one like that. So, what the point was is that when you get back to the United States, everybody's saying, "Oh, do you think China's going to go to war with Taiwan?" It's like everybody in Taiwan knows. That, oh, you haven't heard this?
Oh, like together though, right? Like we'll be friends.
No, like mainland China is going to take Taiwan back in the next 5
Oh
to
yeah,
10
yeah,
years,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But
Well, this
no, I
is
mean they're gonna
something that
try. Or you mean
no
West
ti-
Taiwan, by the
No,
way?
they're just gonna vote it back eventually.
Well,
I
I
think.
don't know, maybe that, but I don't believe that China would ever attack Taiwan for a
I
couple
don't think they
reasons.
need to. Yeah.
They don't really. I mean, it's a long story, but they'd be cutting their own throat. Taiwan's military is pretty strong, and
Yeah.
there are U.S. Marines there. You didn't know that, did you? There are U.S. Marines.
No,
Of course,
I definitely do that.
you don't have a consulate because there's so many things.
Official
Right?
one China policy.
But we
Right,
have,
yeah,
we
yeah,
have,
yeah.
we have,
Well,
but we
I
have,
don't know where to start, right?
but we do have something that's just about the same thing. There's like an administration office. It's like
Yeah, it's called. I've been there. It's AIT, and they recently built a new one. It's called American Office. It's not a consulate either. It's just an office. But
Yeah,
it's got. They built a new one that's a big compound where all these Marines are living in, and I heard they even have Patriot missiles in there. And I heard that all this stuff came from America. They shipped all the building materials directly from the USA, so they don't know what came.
Loose lips sink ships, man.
That's why I'm out of there, man.
We wish them well.
Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
Quote, unquote.
I wish them well. I hope this. And anybody who became a member only, by the way, like, so now you know, just in case this goes with that for saying that, like, you go to the members only area, like, to see anything that gets put in the forbidden section by YouTube. I don't make the rules, but yeah, the thing I would say also we should check out is, like, it's interesting. When you look at, they do that sometimes. YouTube sometimes just makes things go there. Yeah.
I was aware.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the. That's not important. The point is, with the Utah River system again, like, what do you think about how recently this could have been then? If you're looking at all that, and we're talking about the Aral Sea earlier, right? And again, just to remind you, Aral Sea, 1989 to 2014. So how much of this stuff could be just that quickly, in your opinion? Like, this could have all happened way quicker than Randall Carlson, right?
Can you give me uniformitarianism is the old thought that things happen slowly. Even Randall Carlson's not into uniformitarianism.
True.
And says that
catastrophism, right?
Yeah.
Was taught before World War I, and Atlantis was also taught before World War
Yeah,
I.
but what? Wait. What did you call it again? What's the term for someone who's a square?
Uniformitarianism is the idea that it's slow.
Formitarianism.
Uniformitarianism.
So why is it that it's slow? Why is uniformitarianism
drop by drop,
slow?
inch by inch? It was carved slowly by the slow drops of rain. Because
then what do you call
erosion as opposed to mass cataclysm?
What do you call somebody who believes in feedback loops then? Right?
I don't even know what that is, to be honest. But wait, what about the cycles? The unicycle, apparently it's involved with the Earth basically being. I just heard this.
So
it made a little
feedback.
sense. The Earth is shifted polar, like kind of what you're showing right there, where it flips.
Right. So here's an input. The input goes into this thing that makes a circuit, right? So now all of a sudden you've got a field, right? This is a field. And as the field's going, there's an output, right? So it's spinning, it's outputting. But the output's also diverting into the input. So now you've got a feedback loop where the output's going into the input, right? Which is why the output now has some of the output in the input mixed together. And then that continues. Then you have some of the output in the output. And then you have some of the input again. Now you have new input plus the output.
Right. Exponential growth.
Right. And that's why you get those noises like ringing phone where it's like wing, wing, wing. And like you see sometimes like when your camera, let's do a feedback loop really quickly. Screen share. Boom. A feedback loop. Here's a feedback loop.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Gotcha. That's a feedback loop. I hate that.
Yeah.
It bothers me so much.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is a feedback loop.
So really, when you're standing between two mirrors, that's kind of a feedback loop too.
Yes, that's an analog one where sometimes apparently demons can exist. I don't know. I wouldn't try summoning them though.
This is fun though, right? Okay. Point is, feedback loops. Is that not even working? It didn't even do what I wanted it to do. Maybe it did. Point is, with a feedback loop, you're also having a natural feedback loop. So the water goes into the lake, right?
Right.
It rains into the lake builds up. Then it causes precipitation. It makes new clouds. Now you have weather everywhere, but it has to rain somewhere. Where does it rain? Back in the lake. Now the lake's getting bigger, and so these feedback loops are really key because it makes things happen super quick. The same way electronics build up capacitance, right? They build up energy through a feedback loop. So nature itself, now you have bigger storms, bigger clouds,
and in a
that's
way,
happening.
it's kind of like associated with phi in a way, where it's a natural.
Yeah.
What your little chart reminded me of is the investment product that I noticed somebody mentioned Hong Kong in the chat, and I think that it reminded me of the investment product that my Hong Kong boss was selling to the Malaysian investors that was in this book. Free. All the names have been changed to protect.
Amazing. So that was Alberta Oil Sands with Taipei as like the.
I mean, this is just for fun because honestly, this is from an old life. This is from an old life, and I did everything in that book. I've self-published, self-printed, and it was just for fun. And then I said to a friend, I think I should take my books and try to get them mainstream published. And they said to me, "Oh man, nobody remembers SARS anymore." And then suddenly here we are in the middle of COVID again. It's like, damn, man, I need to republish this damn book. But no,
That's
seriously,
amazing.
I went through, well, not that one. I went through the news and I really worked hard at getting the story straight, including a couple of, how would you say, of the more, what is it called? Just basically the mainstream story. And then, well, I mean, we have another outbreak in China right now. Did you know that? Everybody's wearing masks again.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I actually know I did. I'd heard that, but it changes back and forth. It's like pretty bad or what? Because like what was the new one called? There was not Discord.
I heard it was pneumonia, okay, so SARS was always called a viral pneumonia. And then COVID comes out and we don't know what it is. And then what happened in Italy, and I was in Taiwan during that time, and what happened in Europe was unbelievable. I don't even know if it was the same germ or virus,
These are the kind of things they don't like you talking about. By the way.
I know you're already getting one of those clarification messages.
Yeah.
Just don't put it in the title.
Yeah.
It'll
happen. But so catastrophism,
it's a
though.
fictional book that Stig is selling.
Catastrophism.
These are based on true stories with all the information changed, so you can't track me down if you happen to be one of the investors.
I like that. Catastrophism, though, in feedback loops with nature creating bigger and bigger storms around bigger and bigger lakes, and then these giant lakes dry up because they're diverted all of a sudden, they're disconnected from each other. And then all of a sudden, 40 years later, you're like, dang, there was this huge lake here. What happened? Right? But then there's still crazy, chaotic weather. It seems like you could have this all happen within the last 10,000 years. This all could have happened within the last few thousand years.
Giants and giant beavers.
What about the Carolina Bay survey?
Giant beavers would have made giant lakes back in the day, no?
So you're talking about the Carolina Bays. Is that what you just said?
The new survey. If you can get the survey, the Carolina, you already had it ready, huh?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about Carolina Bays.
Look at that. Go back. Go back one. See, that's a good one. But that's a good one. But the right there, stop. Yeah, you keep going back and missing it. I don't want to. Stop. Right there. That one. That shows to me. And by the way, I've taken a good look. I even was looking for them in real life. But these bays are all over Texas too, and even guess where? Clovis, New Mexico. They're the reason why Clovis stopped existing. I believe that. And it shows a lot going into Nebraska right there, but it doesn't show any of the ones. That's an old picture right there. Actually, the ones going in Nebraska, I don't even remember being that intense, but then the ones in Texas and New Mexico pretty much show that you've got an event that showered and by the way, they say it's not direct impacts. It was the ejecta from some bigger thing, Great Lakes, maybe.
I think it could have been like glacial ice that hit them, because then you had a melted away material,
and then they filled it so there wasn't a deep crater, just like my crater in the Rashat structure. Also, same story. They probably hit that mountain, but there was water everywhere, and it immediately filled it up. And then rocks
just the Starfort civilization seemed like they were canal-based, water-based everywhere, and that there was a lot more terraformed water basing. And even if according to official dating mapping, it's only 500 years ago.
And have you seen the ancient water system going around Phoenix? There's a map that you can see this water canal system.
Very suspect with like the bridge, the ancient bridge or something there too, that they claim that they like brought piece by piece over from London or something in the 1800s. Just ridiculous story. I'm not sure if you're aware of that one.
Go back to the main selection.
I just also wanted to say I recently was at one of these like Midtown America street parades where they have floats and they're just cars that are like have the Rotary Club girl princess or whatever of the town on the float. But I realized like floats because at one point all these towns like everyone came to the riverfront of that's how you got every supply. And so also just these canals, because it was so important to be at a riverfront if you're going to live somewhere. Sorry, but where did you want to go to?
Well, actually, never mind. When you searched for the canal system in Phoenix, there was a kind of like slow down, and I think it's that beige one.
Hold on, I go back.
Yeah, see, that's a good one too. But there's that one right there. That's the one I know. And that picture, you got to get and you there's Phoenix right in the middle, and then there's these other cities. So these were not just Phoenix; it was the whole area. And then you're showing me the Kanat. I know where a Kanat is in Arizona, which is Phoenix, right along the 40. There's this big Devil's Hole, right? The Devil's a-hole, and what the heck is it? You're looking at it. I don't want to try to find a picture of it. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just joking. It's got
But there is a Devil's Hole in Arizona. Ooh.
I think. Well, it's not that one, but that's interesting. It's along the 40 between the border and the crater. There's a crater called.
There's also a bunch of like petrified trees there, which is like I think it's
I went there. In fact, I actually bought a piece of petrified rock.
Nice.
I, for some reason, thought that was valuable. It's like gold.
Well, it's nice to have a piece of like carbon silicon life. It's
it's something that changes from life to stone, crystallizes like that. Kind of proves. They say okay. So one thing I never finished talking about with those what I found in New Mexico and the center core being crystallized magma, and then suddenly you have this loose fitting material on each side that's like a mountain. It just seems too assembled to me. But the stuff there's that New Mexico. There's the stuff that's in Colorado. I didn't show you the arch I drove through. You can see inside these things. It's always different. Sometimes it's black and white granite. Sometimes I did an interview with Nikki Anna Jones on the topic, and we showed all these rocks. She went too, and we were looking at our rocks that we collected. I had more pictures, but the magma it crystallizes at different temperatures and turns into different stuff. That doesn't make sense to me. Magma should dry. It's really hot. It gets cold fast. It doesn't sit there and care about the surrounding temperature.
You'll love Stellium's work, yeah.
Who?
Stellium 7. He does a lot of stuff on technology and instant petrification.
Biogeology, he calls it.
Indeed.
Interesting. Stella 7?
Stellium. I'll send you a link to Stellium.
Yeah. And if anybody's like actually a geologist too, I want that mainstream.
I did a minor in geology, to be honest.
Perfect. All right, so that settles it. I'm right. Because you're cool, and I'm cool, so.
There's Stellium's name right there. Sweet. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, we got most of the things. We're near 2 hours. Anything else you want to make sure?
I haven't even tried. Oh, you know what? I'd like to know from Bernie is the thing you mentioned going on in the Colorado River. You said something about
the
yeah. I'd like to see that. And I'll show you what I found.
Find that.
I'll show you what I found. I can show you what I believe are some mining. I mean, come on.
Check out the New Madrid earthquakes, 1811, 1812. New Madrid earthquakes. If you look in Mississippi, ISSIPPI, and then talking about New Madrid quakes, and then people saying like the reports were like around supper, saw the Mississippi River going backwards, current of which was in retrograde for a few minutes, owing as it's supposed to.
The backwards was the Mississippi.
Yeah.
not the. Okay, well, I was actually talking about what he said about the Grand Canyon and the Colorado River.
Which thing was that? Sorry, Bernie. Are you looking it up, or?
Trying to find a specific photo I have of it that it just there's no better way of illustrating it.
I also found a couple of mounds facing each other. Now, I didn't. Okay, so remember I showed you the picture of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Mountain in a drawer, and those two mounds. It's the same angle. Like if those two mounds were aligned with the stars back in the day, it's matching what I found in the Grand Canyon. There's also two mounds face each. I mean, they look like they were placed right on top of the plateau, facing each other in Utah. And it's tough for me to grab all this stuff and show you real quick. But the Colorado, when you start in the Grand Canyon, you find I can show you that, and then you follow it up into Utah. There's all sorts of what look like the same thing, ancient striations that look like they shaved the land, threw it in the water for placer mining, and they just left it, and the land was scarred for probably millions of years. And by the way, we're talking about the Anunnaki ancient alien theory, aren't we? I mean, the mining.
I think so. Some of the people have joked that could just be like a veiled way to get people into Hinduism, and I like it. But I'll also just say if an Anunnaki doesn't necessarily mean gods; it just means they who came from above, right?
Demigods, right?
Yeah.
Like aliens that
well,
were
they
like
came from above as
master builder technology and it's like
something more advanced, giants, and all these things that people could be talking about.
Humans,
could have been
right?
Bigfoot. Bigfoot's fine. I'll take Bigfoot.
Though.
Well, it's just I don't want to believe that I was a creation from some other race, but I mean they were people and we're people, and it's just genetic breeding, inbreeding, or outbreeding or whatever. I guess I'm cool with it, but what about the giants and these large things? And just
check out the Mima Mounds in Washington State and Grand Mounds. Someone says.
Well, I got it.
But what we should do is we'll set up another show very soon. We'll do a real science show, and we'll make it about the Utah, Colorado River, all of that stuff. We can get like a lot of data ready to go and do that in a couple of days. Sometime this next week.
I think that chat was on my. Yeah, that sounds fine by me. I just need to make sure I'm home,
Yeah, we'll make sure that it's at a good time, but we should definitely we'll get some information sorted also on Colorado River, because I've been playing on the Tamanrasset, but I think we did a good job here proving that feedback loops can happen so quickly that it could have happened within 40 years, let alone 10,000 years, which I think is a good enough place to jump off from. But I want people to check out all of your work because you have so many things. It's actually pretty impressive.
I do have a bunch of photos of me driving through the Rashat, yeah.
You got actual footage, legitimately. This is him in freaking Mauritania, guys. So I just want you to know, we talked about so many things because when we get excited, we talk about...
That's the top of the Adrar Plateau right there. It's looking over the other side, that long 200-mile shore. This is the impact.
I'm gonna get a copyright strike from you. I hope you're kind to me. Yeah.
No. We'll work that out. That's it. Does that look like a volcano to you? I mean, to me, it looks like that same thing.
Yeah.
It's a I say impact crater. The mountains are missing, and I never did show you those canals right by the Tamanrasset. There's this little intersection. Shall I show you real quick? I mean, it's just nuts.
Okay, go ahead. Show us the river system.
The canal system.
But anything else, we'll save for next time. Because I know we'll do a cool thing, and it's going to be great. We're going to go even deeper. This was just surface area, even considering that we looked a lot into a lot of things.
Like you said when we began, 2 hours covers 5%, right? So
this is the Tamanrasset.
19 episodes.
We gotta sell the tapes.
So you've got a bunch of stuff here. But the one that I like, wait, did I mess? It must be this down here. What did I do? There it is. This thing right here.
Cross.
I mean, it's basically an intersection in the middle of the desert, and
for highways, yeah.
So yeah, they were mining. They were dumping stuff all over the place. I don't know how big they were, but I mean,
clearly this is. I mean, and it's enough just to divert water that you'll change the course of environmental history.
Well, it looks like a catastrophe changed their course, because it's all been covered in I don't know a lot about tsunamis. We hear tsunami talk all the time, but I know what I can see, and something was fucked with.
Yeah. I
in a
mean,
big
even
way.
just looking at like how tornadoes exist in the Midwest now, and it's such a particular circumstance that makes it possible for tornadoes to happen.
Well, tornadoes, you look into Dutch census work, and then it's like, well, that's kind of us and specifically a
That's what I
certain
mean. I think a lot of
rate.
what we're doing is causing a lot of kinds of environmental catastrophes, and we're calling them catastrophes, and then we're saying, "Oh, it's an act of God," and it's a very good Black's Law legal dictionary way of saying, actually, we probably
CO2, the thing the volcanoes put out exponentially way more of back in the day.
Side effects may include. But yeah, make sure everyone you go to David Stig Hansen. We're gonna do another episode very soon. We're gonna look at all sorts of stuff. We're gonna also check out some of his actual footage because we didn't even really tap like how much he's actually going on location and looking at these places.
That's the hotel in Wadan. You could walk into those ruins.
Do they have Roku?
I walked out of the hotel. I walked out of the hotel in Wadan and then went down the street and suddenly found myself in this cathedral of piles of rocks, and it's a beautiful color. To be
That's
honest,
wildly based. This is stunningly based, gloriously. This is so based. Look at this.
Yeah, that was like my first morning. I walked out. I'm like, what am I going to find here?
So where is this in Africa? Or
it's right by the Eye of Africa, right by the Eye of the Sahara. It's a city, and it's called Wadan. The ancient maps sometimes show Wadan. And
it looks identical to like this the American stuff though throughout the Midwest and throughout Arizona and New Mexico and stuff. Sorry to
I really think that I agree with that statement. I really think this is inferior work. I think that it shows that this was done in the last 2,000 years. Where did they get the wood for those doors? I think they had to import that wood because there's no wood growing in this
Somebody
area.
got off a boat. Yeah, this is probably from like a boat.
This was a major trade highway in the middle of the desert. So when you look at those ancient maps, look at the Piri Reis map. It shows the Tamanrasset River, and it shows it going up into this circle of water. So the Piri Reis map shows what I think is probably the Rashat or represents the legend of it. It's kind of not because I don't think I don't think that the Rashat structure is really a complex of rivers, but that's what they made it look like.
Wood right there.
Yeah, you can collect those. So those are actually people are keeping that. They put that door on there and shut it. They're actually like, I don't know. It's mostly piles of rocks, but some people are living in there. Personally, I wouldn't. Oh, look at this weird pattern on the ground. It's like these little divots. Like you can see two of them. There was some type of a. Is it a game? Maybe an ancient game where they had chess pieces. Or maybe it's some type of. They were trying to keep the table stuck. Also, when you look at the stone that it's on, those stones on the ground are a lot bigger than the stones that are stacked up. And I believe
the whole town is built on this giant stone that blocks. It's hilarious.
these are inferior, but
that's hilarious. No, these little rocks or whatever, but you're standing on top of giant stones. Yeah, that's hilarious too.
I think I found a few of those, and they covered them up. They buried them. They put a layer of rocks on top of them or something. I call this inferior work. These things fall over all the time. People
modern
die.
100 years, 200 years,
And I don't even know if there's maybe some kind of what's that stuff between bricks? Mortar. I don't know if there was some kind of mortar.
If you said rebar, that's stunning. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know about the rebar.
Make sure you guys check out David Stig Hansen.
Awesome.
And also his Facebook page, Was This Atlantis, which is, I got a bunch of his links and all kinds of other things that he's posting.
You could visit all these places. Unfortunately, it's not very organized. I would put stuff as I found it. So.
But it'll literally take you to Google Earth directly, and then you can start digging.
Look at that. That's called an Eye of Africa, right? That's in Morocco. And there's one I want to visit. It's this shape, and they're all over. They're called tumuli, and they're assumed to be burial mounds. You see the little antennae on that?
Yeah.
And then the one next to it, the next one down, maybe hit the right arrow on the picture, and then wait, I didn't put it. It didn't. It's not showing up. Now I'm angry.
Or maybe it's in some weird way, like I have to click on comments.
No, I see it. It's above that one. It's above that right there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You can see two of them, and one of them is the erosion is the erosion has removed most of one of them. Those are the antennae, and they're like an ancient shape that you find all over. There's about 100 of those. And maybe it was a burial site, but it's kind of weird.
Maybe it's for water. Yeah, seems for water. You have a reservoir and it can go out in both directions or something. I don't know.
These are my favorite ones. I love the shape of these. The ones that are down in Mauritania are kind of cool. I kind of imagine ancient flying machines, like if you know about the U.S. postal delivery, they put these arrows across the desert. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I think that maybe it's the same thing. They're all
that's
pointed
interesting.
In the same direction.
Geoglyphs and geoglyphology is something I'm huge into and have done lots of research into, and we'll have to do a whole new episode on.
Oh, that reminds me. Last but not least, make sure you guys check out. Oh yeah, and also since you brought it up, guys, because he says zero control.
At zero control. At zero control. There it is. That guy's got all the geoglyphs. He showed me Lesotho, and look, he's got his eyes. He's discovered the eye that you just saw.
All right, this guy seems based. We'll have to talk to him too.
That one's psychotic right there.
All right, this guy. We'll talk to him next, and so this is out zero control. Let's reach out to him, and we'll get him on the show.
Sub him, and say tell him I said hello.
I just subbed him, and everybody, make sure you go and give him a big boost. Zero control.
He's not even monetized. He's only got 255.
Bruh. All right, we're gonna help.
His collection is great.
We're gonna help. This guy seems cool. This is great. I'll watch a bunch of his videos next, and we'll see how it goes. And also Crypto Alchemist, because he's amazing, and he does some great videos. And
who's that guy?
This is Bernie.
Thank you.
I know. I'm just joking. I knew that. I subbed.
Yeah, this is great. And then also Jeremy Reese. Everybody, we love them all. And it's a round of applause for everybody. Make sure you go see David Stig Hansen's page.
Thank you very much for inviting me over today.
We're gonna do it again in a couple days to a week, something like that. Yeah. Bernie's gonna set up. And everyone, thank you for coming. Go to tartarinova.com, like and subscribe. Thank you for the new members. Check out the members only section because there's all the deleted scenes. And join the Discord. I think that's good.
This next story has been suppressed by mainstream media. Let's go to Andreas for more.
Everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Hello. Welcome to the Exators. Tune in for another exciting episode of wonder, imagination, and discovery.
Recent Tartarians.
Они образуют всеобщие закономерности, определяющие законы классической физики для нашего
Sometimes I
мира.
look at the moon and just think, your skin's beautiful. Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown.
Что касается энергии наномер, то она превышает ядерную в немыслимое число раз. 10 в 74 степени.
That's it. That's it. That's it. With your arms now. That's it. That's it.
Thank you for watching Exators. Keep listening. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please follow and subscribe and share and support. It really helps. Coming up next, Exators.
By the way, that's gone. If you didn't record that, that's gone forever. It's gone.